This is a fantastic day to be looking at this thing called healing compassion. I love that it falls on Mother's Day, whenever we're celebrating Mother's Day. And let me tell you, it happens differently all over the place. It's not always the one day everywhere. But every day ought to be a Mother's Day, and every day mothers ought to be celebrated, and motherhood ought to be celebrated. And we can do this, because that's what we're called to do as the divine offspring of the Divine Mother. And so today, we're very grateful to mothers for giving us the opportunity to take a universal look at motherhood and the Divine Mother. And it is therefore becomes everybody's day, man, woman, and child's day, because I know very many men who have the beautiful heart of a mother. And they are, although they haven't given physical birth, which is a shame really, because then they'd know what it was all about. But that being said, like Prince Harry said, I had no idea how women could go through all of this. But anyway, they do. And so you really are an awesome example to us all with regard to knowing how to get pushed through the pain. And so I thank you for giving us the opportunity not only to celebrate you, but to go deeper and to go wider and into the whole idea of understanding that we, each individual one of us, is the world's mother. And it's our job to do what mothers do. And what are the qualities of mothers? As I see it, it's mainly the S's. It's selflessness, sacrifice, service, all bundled up in huge generosity. Huge generosity. To me, that spells mother, as I have known mothers to be, as I know mothers to be. And so, as I look at that, I say, well, this is the universal mother's traits and qualities. So there could be no healing compassion if that healing compassion didn't spring up out of the one whole thing, love itself. Love itself. Without love, there's no healing compassion. There really isn't. Without love, it cannot be. Because it's love that oozes that beautiful quality of compassion, that beautiful quality of the desire to assist healing out of us. So today is all about love. It's a love day. It's the Mother's Heart Day. It's about us coming into the realization and the understanding that every day is Mother's Day. Now, of course, within the qualities of the Divine Mother are contained the qualities of the Divine Father, but that's talk for another day, or we'll never get out of here. And so as we embrace this thing called motherhood, as we all do, and it's such a joy to me to see you all coming in bright and cheery, knowing that the children and so on and so forth that some of us have given birth to are celebrating you, and you are celebrating them, and all these little gatherings that go on and celebrations. It's a beautiful thing. On the other hand, not all individuals amongst us have been born into that kind of family or have had such an earthly example of the Divine Mother. Not all have, sad to say. My hat is off to you, and I salute you, because you are the strongest amongst us to have chosen to come in to such a challenging environment. You are strong, you are strong, you are strong. And so you have all the more possibility in one way of moving straight through into the Divine Mother and embracing the Divine Mother and allowing that mother to mother you, as we all are in the process of doing as truth students and consciously spiritualizing beings. And so, on the other hand, I would say to you, you can always adopt a family. You can always choose your own family. You really can. You really can, and this can happen. I know people who do it. As I was saying this morning, I've had 2 American mothers already, as well as my own, and I had a great mother. But it just so happened that that's what was drawn into my life. And I appreciate those women as much as I do my own mother in many ways. And so Please don't feel that you're left out or anything like that. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can adopt a mother, a granny or something, whatever you want. And you can adopt a mother and a father. Isn't that interesting? It can be a man that you adopt as a mother. Yeah, anything goes, you know that. Anything, nothing's impossible in God. As I say, I know men with the beautiful hearts of the Divine Mother, and it's not limited to any one individual. There is something special, though, about women who have given birth themselves physically to children, because that's an experience that they and they alone have in common amongst themselves, although the rest of us can guess at that. Now, when it comes back to understanding love itself and the wholeness of that and the completeness of that and the fullness of that, as is demonstrated in many mothers, and I've known many, many, many mothers who were devoted, in fact, to just the divine motherly loving service through all kinds of means and ways, many of them in religious life, either in monasteries or in convents, and other people, lay people, who have decided to do the same thing. Or not even decided, but that was their calling, and they show up as those beautiful examples of that. And of course, Mother Teresa is the ultimate example of the Divine Mother, you know. She truly and truly is. And her whole thrust and focus were on children to begin with, babies in particular especially. And that was something that was she awesomely succeeded in doing, and out of the impossible circumstances that she found herself in when she decided to leave the convent that she was in, the order that she was in, and go into just taking care of the poorest of the poor, and founded another organization herself, another community of nuns. And so you can imagine what a heart that woman had when she was able to do the most awful and difficult things that you and I perhaps would balk at, when she'd pick dying babies up out of the gutter and pull out I'm not even going to go there, but anyway, and then cradle them in her arms and say, this child will know what love is before this child passes on. I mean, that's the mother's love, isn't it? And that's a very extreme example of it, but all mothers know what I'm talking about, because they've had to be extremely, giving in some circumstances with children who are a huge and super challenge, you know, and they do. And it's never something that I take for granted. I'm always in awe of that. Always in awe of that. But here's what I know. You are called to all of that. I am called to all of that, just as they have been called to all of that in our own and unique way. And when you even go back into all of the scriptures and philosophies and mythologies and so on, you see the divine aspects of the mother coming through in the stories. You go back into, the stories that the prophets tell and so on. And there's poetry there about the Divine Mother, poetry in it. I just love them. And as I was sharing them this morning, it always did something to my heart, even as a child, when I read these things, or they were read to us in school and elsewhere. But I loved those beautiful, I always went back to them when I was pondering the difficulty of understanding an avenging God, or a God who could smite folk, or a God who could do anything of that nature. It didn't make any sense to me at all. The God of the Old Testament is kind of like that. So I would go back then to the Old Testament, to the books that read differently, where I was reminded, I have did I not knit you? Did I not form you in your mother's womb? Did I not draw you with the cords of compassion? Did I not always and ever be here for you? Come to me. Come to me, I will give you rest. Come to me, I will revive you. Come to me, I will renew you. Come to me, I will give you new life. Come to me. Can a mother forget the child in her womb? Or can a mother forget the loved one who enters the room? No, and I'll not forget you, my chosen one, either. These are the words of great scriptures of old. It's nothing new. It's always been there, that sense of the mother. So these are the things I go to when I want to get a sense of what God is all about, what this energy, this essence is all about. It's about that. It's about cradling. It's about embracing. It's about including. And all of the black sheep that I've ever known, I knew their mothers had the softest of all spots for that black sheep. It's the black sheep that was always foremost in the mind of the mother. Always. And so, my dear ones, the message for you and for me today is to come back to me. Come back to me with all your heart. Don't let fear keep us apart. Do not. Long have I waited for your coming home to me and living deeply in my love. That's the message of Mother's Day. And any mother who has longed for the return of a child will tell you the same thing. Father too. Long have I waited for your coming home to me and living deeply in this deep love that's here waiting for you, like the prodigal when he came home. That's the mother. That's motherhood. That's what it's all about. And you know, each one of us gets to mother everything and everyone. Everything and everyone. And don't forget, my dear ones, that mothers need mothering too. Mothers require mothering too. And yes, they come across as bold and strong and fearless and so on, but underneath all of that, there is more going on as well. There's the concern for the children, always. And every mother will tell you, doesn't matter how old they are, they're still my child, always. Whether you're 9 or 99, if your mother lives to be 120 or whatever, you're her kid. That's just how it is. And so you never go away from the mother. It's impossible to go away from the mother. The mother is always with us, always with us. And that mother song is always, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. Don't let fear keep us apart. Don't let anything keep us apart. Come back to me. Shelter here, rest here, find comfort here. Come back to me. This is the home of deep love. Come back to me. And so I say, children, remember that. Be kind and good and caring and thoughtful and returning of love to your mother and to your father, for that matter. And it doesn't matter how old we are, those mothers, those parents always feel how wonderful it is when their child remembers them in some special way, always. And so the call today is for love to be realized, love to be given, not to be got, but to be given. And look at those mothers. They truly are people who give without counting the cost. They toil and they don't seek for rest. They labor and they don't seek reward, my goodness me. And I have known in my days of service and community and so on, mothers who have always put themselves last and everybody else first. Mothers who've worn the same old coat for I don't know how long, but the kids were always well dressed and taken care of. Mothers who were the last to sit at a table and eat what was left, more or less, when the children had been fed and the animals had been taken care of and God knows what not. These are mothers I have observed, mothers who would go the extra mile, and mothers who took care of mothers. Mothers who knew mothers who were in need, who didn't have enough to take care of their families. And mothers who would serve breakfast trays to mothers who were having children and so on and so forth. I've known mothers when other mothers had very little and were worried to go and pawn their wedding rings to get money to give to their neighbor to take care of those children. I mean, mothers, they're incredible, they're amazing. And if you can imagine how human mothers can do this, what the divine mother desires for you, what the divine mother desires for me. Every possible thing that you could think of for yourself that's good, and then some, and then some. And always and never saying, don't be concerned about the awfulness of the past or whatever dreadful nonsense you've been engaged in and gotten yourself up to. Come back to me, come back to me. Think of the prodigal, come back to me. And the father waited, and the father waited, and the father watched, and the father looked, and the father waited. And one day there was the son in the distance, and he recognizes his son and runs. There is a father with the mother's heart and just embraces him. Why are we so scared about our past when we think of it in terms of the divine? The divine mother is not a punitive mother. The divine mother is not a punishing mother. The divine mother does not wish anything upon her children except love and more love and more love and more love and more love. Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me, come home to me. And that mother's song has been sung in the heart of each and every one of us since we were born. That song is there. Come back to me with all your heart. Come back to me. Don't let fear keep us apart. Come back to me. Long do I wait for your return. Come back to me. Come back to me. The song of the mother in the heart of us all. There is a tribe in Africa, and I can't remember which one, but when the child is born, the community gather around and they sing a special song. It's the song of the child. They've been thinking about that child, waiting to welcome that child for those months. They sing that song to that child, and in every important moment in the child's life, the community assembles and sings that song to that child, and especially when the child goes off the rails. They gather around that child, that wayward child, and they sing that song of life to remind that child who and what that child truly is. I love that. I love that. I love it. And that song has been sung in you all of the time. Come back to me. Wake up. Come back to me. Stop being so fear-filled and anxious. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. There's someone sitting in this room today that needs to do that right away. Come back to me. Come back to me. And stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Thinking I've gone too far. I've done too much. It's not going to happen for me. It is. It's already happened for you. There is nothing, as Emmett Fox says, that enough love cannot heal. What do you think divine love can do if that is true of human beings? Nothing, nothing, nothing that enough love cannot heal. And when you look out at the world, it means we're not loving enough because it's not healing the way we know it could. Enough love can do it. Love will do the deed, said the good poet. For with love, stony hearts will bleed. Enough love. And that's what you and I are called to today. Enough love. To be the love, to give the love, to serve in love, to show up in love, no matter what. Without judgment, without differentiation, without anything else, regardless of what it is that's in front of us, who it is that's in front of us. Your job, my job, is to show up as love. Show up as love. And let the song of the Divine Mother come through so that the one in front of you can recognize the song within themselves and snap out of the mesmerization of the exterior world and come back into the awareness of the true essence of being. Love, beingness, love in action by means of each and every one of us. So, my dear ones, I'm going to leave you today with a most profound message on this Mother's Day. And I hope you can appreciate this as much as I have. A man came home from work and found his 3 children outside, still in their pajamas, playing in the mud with empty food boxes and wrappers strewn all over the front yard. The door of his wife's car was open, as was the front door to the house, and there was no sign of the dog. Proceeding into the entry, he found an even bigger mess. A lamp had been knocked over, and the throw rug was all wadded up against the wall. In the front room, the TV was loudly blaring a cartoon channel, and the family room was strewn with toys and various items of clothing. In the kitchen, dishes filled the sink, breakfast food was spilled on the counter, the fridge door was open wide, the dog's food had spilt all over the floor, and a broken glass lay under the table, and a small pile of sand was spread all over the back door. He quickly headed up the stairs, stepping over toys and more piles of clothes, looking for his wife. He was worried at this stage that she might be ill or that something serious had happened. He was met with a small trickle of water as he made his way across the bathroom floor and out again. As he peered inside it, of course, wet towels, scummy soap, and more toys strewn all over the floor. Miles of toilet paper lay in a heap, and toothpaste had been smeared all over the mirrors and the walls. So he rushed now to the bedroom. He found his wife, still curled up in the bed, in her pajamas, reading a novel. She looked up at him, smiled, and asked how his day went. He looked at her bewildered and asked, "What happened here today?" She again smiled and answered, "You know, every day when you come home from work and you ask me, 'What in the world do you do all day?'" "Yes," was his incredulous reply, and she answered, "Well, today I didn't do it." And so it is.